Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
All right, guys, welcome in here on this Tuesday, July the 6th. Crazy, and we are finally in the finals. That's right, the NBA Finals, Game 1 tonight. We're looking at the Suns taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, and a whole lot to get to here, a whole lot of ways to approach this, but the bottom line should be a very interesting finals this year, and who better to break them down with than these three gentlemen, three of the absolute finest at Wager Talk. We're looking at Tony Mejia in the top here today, Teddy Covers in the house, and of course, Mr. Rob Vino here to help you guys navigate this series, which is some interesting news right off the bat here, gentlemen. It looks like Giannis has been upgraded to questionable. Whether or not that means he'll actually play is a whole different ballgame. But what we do know is that we saw 5.5s on the board, got pushed up to 6 for Phoenix. We even some places flirted with the 6.5s. The total has gone up as well, 216.5. I'm seeing 219s across the board. So a lot to get to here in this series and in this game here tonight. But Tony Mejia, let me come to you, my friend. How was your fourth? And more importantly, what do you got tonight at WagerTalk.com?
Well, Joe, I think we're all questionable coming off a July 4th weekend.
Yeah,
but
true.
I did some stuff on Monday, so that was good. Got my week started on Wager Talk today. I got a 5% play on this NBA Finals game. We'll have some props, including one I'll give out on the show. Looking forward to the NBA Finals, which is in July this year, after being in August last year and being in June every year otherwise that I've been in existence. So still difficult to get used to it, but we'll get back to normalcy next season. And this is a very interesting finals, obviously, with two teams that haven't been here in decades. Phoenix hasn't been here since 93, Milwaukee since 74, and obviously won in 71. Phoenix hasn't won at all. So at the very least, some new blood, and we'll have an interesting champion, whether it's Chris Paul and the Suns or Giannis and the Bucks.
Yeah, going to be very interesting. Big 5% play, guys. You heard it up at WagerTalk.com. And Teddy, my friend, the fourth treated you well, I am sure. And what do you got tonight at WagerTalk and/or SportsMemo.com first?
I'm locked and loaded with a single best bet winner on the tonight's side for Suns and Bucks. Comfortable with that play, whether Giannis is in or out, for what it's worth.
Yes.
Although, as you said, upgraded to questionable. That doesn't mean he's going to play, but it certainly means he has a chance of playing, which we didn't think he had coming into today necessarily. So a single best bet available for Game 1, and I am involved in MLB action as well for this evening. You can get those plays right now, either at Wager Talk or SportsMemo.com. And, of course, tomorrow, the NFL season win report comes out. So I'm neck deep in NFL right now as well.
Yes, got a lot going on. 15 games in total tonight. MLB, and, of course, Rob, this big championship game tonight, Game 1. How was your 4th of July, my friend? And what's locked and loaded in your neck of the woods at Wager Talk?
Yeah, 4th of July was quiet, very quiet around these parts. What's available at WagerTalk.com today, like the two guys before me, I'm involved in this game. I had an opinion, just as Teddy stated, with or without Giannis. So we're up and ready to roll since this morning, WagerTalk.com. Actually, two separate plays there, Joe. One is a first half play, one is a full game play, so you can get them both at WagerTalk.com. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Giannis tonight. This morning, he didn't travel to the arena with the team. He was actually working out somewhere a few miles down the road in front of an army of onlookers, whether they be physicians or Suns brass or whatever. So, miraculously, he's able to move a lot better today than he was a couple of days ago. And we'll see if it's good enough to play. Milwaukee's used to not playing with him. We've talked about that quite a bit throughout the season.
Yeah, no, we did, and we got a little taste of what life is like during the playoffs without Giannis there in the last couple of games against Atlanta. So we'll see what, if anything, it means heading into tonight's game one. And guys, let's take a look at the numbers here. Like we told you, 5.5 is an open. It was pushed to 6, maybe even a 6.5, getting flirted out there at one point. The total has certainly moved up a little bit. Saw some 216.5s, 217s, and now I'm looking pretty much a consensus of 219. The news came out about an hour ago at Giannis. We're not seeing an awful lot of people rushing one way or the other just yet, but that can change. So, Tony, me, I'll come to you first here. Suns got a little more rest, I believe, than what the Bucks have. I think they were done on June 30th, July 3rd for the Bucks. How are you going to approach this game here certainly from a side perspective here? And do you anticipate money coming in one way or the other before tip-off?
I mean, certainly if Giannis is cleared, I think we'll get a late push on Bucks veterans. And look, I'm of the opinion that his absence is baked into this line. I didn't think it was going to be 5.5 or 6 when I was putting my numbers on this game, closer to 3 or 4. So I think that, if there's certainly value if he shows up. Now, what kind of shape is he in? What can he effectively do on the floor? Is he 80%? Is he 70%? That'll be interesting if he suits up. Is this just gamesmanship and we won't see him until game 2 at the earliest, possibly? So a lot to determine, pre-flop, I guess. And again, I'm like Rob and Teddy. My opinion of my 5% play doesn't change with Giannis in or out. But it's interesting because he is the most impactful player on the floor when he's out there. So the fact that we've all come to determinations without him, it's almost like, what's the psychology of it? I don't think any of us expected him to play in game 1. And now the potential is there for him to show up. It definitely does have the potential to change things a little bit. But again, it also sets up a dynamic where we have one big three against another intact.
All right. Well, Teddy, let me ask you, because I think when it was an interesting season when these two teams played. The total was just a little higher than what we've got listed right now. And one of those games went to overtime, but I think the closing numbers were 226.5, 232, somewhere around that. We're looking at 219, but it should be a very interesting matchup. Do you anticipate chess match at all in this one, or is it just going to be pedal to the metal for both of these teams coming out of the gate?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is those two regular season meetings. One played in February, won by Phoenix by a single point. The other played in April, again, won by Phoenix by a single point in overtime. That was tied at 116 apiece after regulation. So even with before the extra session, that game went over the total. And you don't want to look at a regular season game after these teams have already, they've just played 3 playoff series apiece, plus everything that happened after that one game, and say, oh, this is meaningful in some way. And yet, what really stands out to me, certainly about the most recent meeting between these two teams, is the ability of Phoenix to get offense from up and down the lineup. And that's something, we talk a lot about Chris Paul, we talk a lot about Devin Booker. We don't talk as much about Bridges or Ayton or Crowder or Saric or Johnson and up and on down the line. Campaign's had a great postseason. We don't hear people talking about him a whole lot. That said, they had 4 20-point scores in that ballgame. They really were able to find balance offensively. And I don't know that changes tonight, especially if Giannis doesn't play. So I can understand some over in this game. I can understand some first half over in this game. That's probably the way would look total-wise. I think that we're going to see the Suns get some balanced scoring. And certainly when we think about the role players for Milwaukee, what they've been able to do this postseason, and it's been, it hasn't been one game for Brook Lopez. It hasn't been one game for Brian Forbes or Bobby Portis. It's been consistent for all 3 of those guys. And, no surprise here if we see a relatively high-scoring affair, especially early in this one.
Yeah, it's Rob. It should be interesting. Anything that you've seen here from the last two games without Giannis that would, if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, you look and say, yeah, we'll be just fine, even if he's not 100%.
Yeah, I think they followed true to what Milwaukee was all season long without Giannis, and that is offensively, Coach Budenholzer doesn't change a heck of a lot. They still are one of the faster paced teams, and without Giannis, they're maybe even a little bit quicker, to tell you the truth, because there's not as many sets where Giannis can dribble the ball and get into the paint. They just were pretty much up and go against the Hawks those last two games. Both two soared over the total. Milwaukee now 13 games this season without Giannis, and in those games, the Bucks have scored 112 or more points, 108 or more points 11 times. 108 being the low there. The rest, a lot of teams, and 20s and even 30s. So they can score without him. I think the biggest difference for Milwaukee here may be the physicality of Phoenix as opposed to the physicality of Atlanta. When you start looking through the players man for man, you find that Phoenix just in certain spots, for instance, Chris Paul, a far more physical defender, offensive player than Trae Young, the opposing point guards, right? Devin Booker, a far more physical player than Bogdanovich, the shooting guards that Milwaukee faced and will be facing. And then, of course, Teddy mentioned Mikal Bridges, but defensively standout, a lot more physical than Kevin Huerter. So it's a little bit different for Milwaukee here. I heard a lot from players and coaches talking about how they want to play with pace. I think what happens here, and Teddy talked about the two early season meetings or regular season meetings where they both soared over the total, but I think there's a mutual admiration here for the opponent's half-court defense and not wanting to necessarily play against that. So, I'm kind of with Teddy. I think that I can see people playing over in any form here. Maybe first quarter you might be a little nervous because there's been some layoff for Phoenix, but boy, I don't know that I put a lot of stock into that at this point in time. I think Phoenix rest at this point, into the finals is a lot better or a lot more advantageous or more likely to happen than rust. So, I think everything follows suit here. I think Phoenix, I basically heard Jay Crowder say they're best when they get out and run, which is what they want to do. So we'll see what happens here, Giannis or no Giannis.
All right, interesting stuff here, guys, for this game here tonight. Still not a lot of movement on the line, but Teddy, I want to touch base on the series numbers here and see if there's an approach to be had here tonight as Phoenix a little cheaper as a series winner, as of course the money line right now hovering somewhere around that 225 to anywhere from 225 to 250. I saw them as little as 190 in the series, and then of course the Bucks at plus 170. They're about a $2 favorite here tonight. So how would you approach these series versus just the individual game prices, if at all, here?
Well, there's a bet to be made, a good bet to be made, I think. If you like Phoenix tonight and if you like Phoenix to win the series, you can put them together. Phoenix to win game one / Phoenix to win the series. And you'll lay about minus 125 was a number I saw with that earlier this morning. I don't know if that's still available, but it was available earlier this morning. So it shouldn't have moved too much, especially with the Giannis news since then. It may have, in fact, come down the other direction. Like I said, I haven't seen it. But the concept of betting the series price as it correlates to your opinion about the game, if you like Phoenix, it makes a ton of sense to make that bet here. The Suns won't be, or if the Suns win game one tonight, and again, you're talking about only a win in game one, not a win and cover. But if the Suns win straight up in game one and then win the series, minus 125, you're not going to find a better number than that if you like the Phoenix side of the equation.
Interesting. All right, let's take a look here, guys. Also, if we can, at the MVP prices here right now, as you can get them before the game starts, starting with everyone's darling right now in the 2021 NBA Finals. Chris Paul is certainly the favorite, plus 160. followed by Booker, and then, of course, Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, the guys that you would think. But Tony Mejia, talk to me. Give me something here that we might be surprised with. Give me a long shot if you were going to look at somebody for a Finals MVP here.
Yeah, my preferred long shot's definitely Drew Holiday. Just his defense on Chris Paul could be the difference. He comes off a game 6 against Atlanta where he almost came up with a triple-double. He's certainly capable, although he's inconsistent. And then I've seen as high as plus 1,600. Those numbers are, everywhere right now, like, all over the board. Plus 1,100 is what we're showing on that graphic. I've seen higher than plus 1,600. I think that my 1,600 was at DraftKings where I saw it. So you shop around and throw a little bit at it, sprinkle in. It could be a huge payday. I certainly agree with Chris Paul as your Finals MVP favorite. Best player on the favored team. But yeah, and then the combination that Teddy mentioned. I saw that yesterday, minus 125. I think you're of the opinion that Phoenix is going to win the series. Certainly, you like them in Game 1. Probably a little more with Giannis doubtful as opposed to questionable, but still a great bet.
All right, good stuff there. Rob, looking at these numbers here, somebody on that board interest you? I mean, it's if Giannis is not Giannis or doesn't or misses a couple of games, how about that matchup of DeAndre Ayton and Brook Lopez coming out here?
Yeah, I would say, we're talking an awful lot about Phoenix, but if you like Milwaukee, then Chris Middleton at plus 650 has really good potential there. Even when Giannis is on the floor, Giannis has already told you that Chris Middleton is the closer, and we're not afraid to go for him for game-winning shots. And when you're talking about MVP, a game-winning shot here or there a lot of times decides who gets MVP. So if you're of the opinion that Milwaukee's going to win this thing, then I would definitely look Middleton's way. I think if you want to really, really just grind out a couple of bucks, and you're of the opinion that Phoenix is going to win this series, but you don't think they'll sweep, I mean, you get Phoenix in 5, Phoenix in 6, Phoenix in 7, bet them all.
Yeah,
$100 each, and the lowest payback is $350. So you're going to grind out a minimum of $50 on every 100 you put up there. That's if you love Phoenix in this particular series. But these prices all, they exist because we're sitting here prior to Game 1. Once Game 1 takes place and there's a result that happens,
right,
all these numbers quickly change. So if you're strong on anything right now, I would take advantage of things right now. Again, if you like Milwaukee, I would almost favor Middleton over anybody else on the Bucks because he just seems to be the guy that, although he disappears, at times he seems to come through in the clutch more than anybody on that team.
You like Teddy, the correlation, Phoenix, Chris Paul? Is it a situation where if they win this series, is Chris Paul going to be the MVP in all likelihood to you? Oh, you muted us, Teddy, I think. Oh.
Yeah, so is this better? Yeah.
That much better, yes. I got you now.
My fault. Sorry, guys. I'd rather not cough on here.
We appreciate it.
When I get off. I went back and looked over the last 40 years. And in the last 40 years in the NBA Finals, the best player on the championship team won every time but twice.
Ooh.
Twice. There was Andre Iguodala won in 2015, coming off the bench. And Cedric Maxwell won for the Celtics in 1981. Wow. That's it. Otherwise, it's Hakeem, Olajuwon, Shaq, Duncan. I guess, Tony Parker won in 2007, but Parker was the best player on that team that year. Dwayne Wade, Kobe, Dirk won it, LeBron, Kawhi won it. You don't see the reporters who vote on this stuff. They don't go deep. They're literally right now at the start of the NBA Finals. There is a maximum of 5 live players, one of whom's Giannis and is hurt. And then you have the other 2 for Phoenix and the other 2 for Milwaukee. I would not go deep. I would not be looking for long shots. The NBA Finals is a popularity award, and that's certainly, if you like Phoenix, there's an argument to be made that instead of betting the Suns for this series, you bet on Chris Paul as MVP. At plus, you can get him at better than 2-1. The problem I have with that is Booker's live.
Yeah.
So now you need Phoenix to win, and you need Booker not to have as good a series as Chris Paul. And for the Suns to win, I think Booker needs to have an incredible series. So that's not a bet that I personally would make, but I understand the thought process behind it. Wouldn't talk someone out of it, but not with my money. I don't think the chances. It's not a 50-50 shot.
Right.
Paul Booker. It really isn't. And the markets are saying that Paul is even more likely to be MVP than Booker. I'm not convinced that's the case.
All right. Love it, guys. Whole lot of different ways to be able to go at this, certainly from a series. And we'll see if these guys have any prop bets coming up as we start one of our final, that's right, final, since it is the NBA Finals, one of our final best bet segments here of the year as the Bucks and the Phoenix Suns get ready to do battle tonight in Game 1. But I do want to remind you before we go around the horn, one more time, best bets are locked and loaded for all three of these gentlemen. Tony Mejia told you he's got a 5% best bet ready to go right now at WagerTalk.com. Teddy's got his best bet. He's got some MLB up and available right now at WagerTalk and/or SportsMemo.com. And Rob Vino ready to go here with his plays in this game here tonight. Visit all of them, guys. Visit their pages, WagerTalk.com. All right, Mejia, you are running point here for one of the final buzzer beater segments of the season. So 60 seconds on the clock. I know sometimes you can 60 seconds on the clock. You got it, Mejia. Where are you going tonight? Give us an angle.
All right. Well, I'll humble brag that I voted for Finals MVP when I was a media member, and the sample size is that like only about 10 to 15 people actually get that. Like some broadcasters. Mark Stein's usually in the mix, and you're really basically tapped on the shoulder and say, hey, you're voting for Finals MVP this year. Okay. And I think I voted for Dirk, the first title, not the second, when they beat the Heat. So, to back up what Teddy said, they don't get crazy with and too creative. It's the regular season MVP where there's 100 people voting. I really like Chris Paul's prop today. 8.5 assists, 9.5 if you use FanDuel and your plus money there. 8.5 if you use DraftKings and you're laying juice. I always like to lay juice just because you get the 9. I think he gets everybody involved. So that's the number one priority, Chris Paul, over assists.
Over. Go with it. Over on the assists here tonight, Chris Paul. That's right on time, Robert. You're getting there. Good Lord. That was like Friday. All right, Teddy, come on, my man. Talk to us. I know you got your best bet up, but give us an angle that you're looking at here tonight.
Sure. So the last time I was on the show, last Tuesday, or last time I was on the show talking about the Bucks, we talked about betting Chris Middleton under. And in that game, I looked at points, rebounds, and assists. And he ended up shooting 6 of 17 from the floor. After this offensive outburst, where he scored 38 points in Game 3, I'm like, he's not doing that again, and he didn't. And of course, the fact that Giannis got hurt and the Bucks quit early in that game certainly helped in that regard. I'm not looking at points, rebounds, and assists this time, but I am looking to bet Chris Middleton under. Let's just do points for tonight's game, and this is why. When you talk about defensive stoppers, who do we trust in that role? We got PJ Tucker from Milwaukee. They've got one. And certainly Phoenix has one in Jay Crowder. I think the Crowder matchup on Middleton is going to be difficult for Middleton. That's a matchup that I expect Crowder to win at least for Game 1. Chris Middleton under points tonight.
Middleton under for Game 1 there with his point total. Good job there, Teddy. And Rob Vino, my friend. Talk to us. You mentioned a whole lot of different ways to approach this game here tonight to start this series. Give us one you're looking at.
Well, I'll stay off the props since the other two guys handled that. And I'll just go to first half betting here, Joe. I think that Phoenix is live first half, -3. Just think that they're going to come out extremely focused. Milwaukee has been good on the road. Last 3 times out, right? You go back to that Brooklyn series. They were good on the road in clinching. They were good against Atlanta a couple times on the road. Their point total has been up also last 3 games on the road. But for me, Phoenix right now sits at 12-4 against the spread in first halves in this postseason. I think that carries out here tonight. Again, I think that the rest means more than the rust will in this case for the Phoenix Suns. I think maybe the Milwaukee shooters, the secondary shooters that haven't brought it on the road very much, don't bring it here early on. So give me Phoenix -3 first half.
Ooh, lay it with the Suns in the first half here, says Rob Vino. All of those looks, guys. Definitely a great way to make it a profitable evening as we get ready for Game 1 between the Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. I do think we have a recap in case you missed anything coming up here for you. So once again, Tony Mejia, Chris Paul over the assist total there, 8.5. Teddy, not tonight, Chris Middleton, not tonight. Points under for Teddy. And Rob Vino likes the Suns in the first half. Lay the 3 with the team at home, and that being, of course, the Phoenix Suns. This will also, in all likelihood, guys, be the last time we get a chance to talk to Teddy Covers, as the games will be pretty spaced out after Thursdays. I think it's pretty much 2 days afterwards. Teddy is going to take a little break and then, of course, get ready because college football, NFL season just around the corner. And Teddy, before we let you go, we want to thank you, of course, for an amazing season. But talk to us about that wins report that you've got coming out here for the NFL season.
Yeah, that comes out tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock on the East Coast. And if you want to get it, I would get it sooner rather than later because the numbers tend to move. 91-41 over the 20 years I've been doing the report, including 3-1 last year. The best bets, the 5%ers have gone 14-3, better than 80%. And the thing we love about the report, of course, is that you don't just get the win totals to bet now. These are bet on and bet against teams. You use the info all year long. So great value. You get it right now or tomorrow at noon Pacific, hot off the presses. Don't expect much sleep between now and then.
Yeah, no, don't. That's for sure. And I believe it was, 75% last year as well in the report. It was just phenomenal here, guys. So look for that tomorrow there at Teddy's page at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo. But don't forget, Rob Vino locked and loaded here tonight for the games. Best bets are up there, as is Tony Mejia. Got his big 5% play ready to go in this matchup. Go grab that right now, guys, at WagerTalk.com. And on behalf of Tony Mejia, Teddy Covers, and Rob Vino, guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. We'll come back on Thursday for Game 2 here, getting you ready to make it a profitable NBA Finals. Until then, best of luck with your plays, guys. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Have a good night.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.